what's going on with the fish foods over the last 35 or 40 years? You know, you track back 35 years ago, and if you wanted to feed fish, you really had one choice. You'd go buy catfish food somewhere. Well, it's not like that now. Over the last 10 or 12 years, fish food has evolved. It's changed a lot. What's happened now is different people with different ponds have different reasons for those ponds. So essentially people will say, they'll call me up and say, hey Bob, I want to grow great big largemouth bass, or I want to grow big bluegill. You know what, I got a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old grandchild. I want them to be able to catch brim off the dock. But what Purina's done is they've developed a line of fish foods. The one that got the best brand recognition is Game Fish Chow. Game Fish Chow was invented back about 1995, and the reason people like that is it's fairly inexpensive, it's grain-based, it's got, the big selling point about it is it's got different sizes of pellets in it. So what it's for is it's for people that want to feed fish for fun, to supplement what nature offers in a pond. That's what Game Fish Chow is for. Now the pond chows, now called pond fish, new packaging this year. Pond fish is designed to feed omnivores type. Yeah, it's what you feed catfish. If somebody wants to grow catfish for food to eat, that's what they feed. At our house there at Lusk Lodge, Comma 2 up in North Texas, we've got a catfish pond, and that's what we feed. And the catfish convert it really, really well, like almost 2 to 1, maybe a little bit better than that sometimes. Tilapia, I've got 2 ponds full of tilapia in the spring and summer. They're warm water fish. That's what we feed those fish. Now, if somebody's really serious and they want to grow giant fish, that's where the sport fish product comes in. The nutritionists with Purina Mills back about, I don't know, 2003, 2004, started seeing a need through our industry, the pond management industry, to grow bigger fish. So, and here's what I would tell people, and I say this at almost every talk I give. 7 or 8 years ago, I'd stand in front of a crowd and I'd say, you know, the biggest bluegill I've ever held is 2 pounds, and I've held 5 of those in 25 plus years of doing what I do. And I've probably held 10 bluegills that are 1.5 pounds to 1.25 pounds. But I'm going to tell you this, I have held 10,000 bluegills that are 1 pound to 1.25 pounds. Game Fish Chow will do that for you. Well, as the feed business started to change, people wanted something better. So the nutritionists came up with some formulas that include fish meal to create this Aquamax diet, the sport fish diet. Well, we started feeding that, and I'm going to tell you this, in the last 5 years, I have held probably 250 2-pound plus bluegills drape over the side of a dinner plate. Huge bluegill. Now I haven't been blessed yet with holding those 3-pounders, but I've seen pictures of some 3-pound bluegill. The only difference is what they eat. So if somebody wants to grow big fish, sport fish is the product. Now, as a dealer, one of the things you're going to want to know is what if somebody comes in and they want to feed bass? Be sure and ask them, are your bass feed trained? Because if they're not, you're not going to feed trained bass in a pond typically. But now fish hatcheries sell feed trained bass pretty much all over the Midwest, the Southwest, Southeast, and along the Atlantic seaboard. So you can now buy largemouth bass that are feed trained. You can buy smallmouth bass that are feed trained. You can buy yellow perch that are feed trained. You know, so that product there, the sport fish product, that's the product that you want to use to feed those fish. So feeding fish has gotten to be a really big deal in the last few years. One of the things I love about the sport fish product is the conversion rates. They'll convert that feed at about 1.3, 1.4 to 1. So not only do they get efficient gain off of that feed, they'll also, you have less waste. And when you have less waste, you have less water quality issues. You know, water quality is a big deal. So if you're selling fish food, water quality is important. Picking the right feed, that's a big deal. That's real important. You know, and helping guide those people based on the kind of fish they want to feed, to guide them on which feed that they want to eat. The question is, will the sport fish feed through an automatic feeder? Yes, it will. Yes, it will. Now, there's one product out there, Aquamax Largemouth, that's designed for larger largemouth bass that won't go through with feeders. That has to be fed by hand. But the Aquamax 600 goes through feeders real well. 500, all the products, the Aquamax products and the Game Fish Chow products go through a feeder real well. Now these feeders, these Texas Hunter feeders, are really good about the feed not clogging up. There's other feeders that are, you know, less expensive feeders where sometimes if the feed gets a little bit of moisture, especially the grain-based feed, they'll swell up a little bit and clog it up. If it gets rained on, it's going to clog any feeder. But, you know, moisture typically doesn't bother these fish foods. All right, let's grow some big fish.